I'm here. I came to the party. I want to tell you guys all about the birth of little Sadie June. I know this video is a little late, and that's on one part because my computer is possessed, you know, the usual. But on the other, I don't want to set down my baby to edit videos. I just want to hold her and stare at her and just soak up all of her deliciousness every second of every day. So editing can go itself. What are you doing, Marie? Don't put things like that in the beautiful story of how your baby came to be. Meh. There are a couple of ways I could go about this. I thought about taking all the footage and putting it together with sun flares and soft focus and tiny little feet showing with the little creases and the toes and all those things, and just making this really emotional, wonderful video, which maybe I still will do one like that. But I also wanted to have an actual, like, documented video of what really went down that day. Because my brain, whenever I go through anything traumatic or exciting or anything big, really, my brain just wipes it from its history. I think it's a coping mechanism from a traumatic childhood. I don't know. But I want to remember the deliveries of my children, which is why I started videos on YouTube. Legit, I think my first video I ever made was Scarlett's birth story, which back then it was just like me wah, wah, wah at the camera with absolutely no action shots at all. And then you guys remember how long I took to tell you about Luca's delivery because I wanted to remember every detail. This is my brain in this box. I have to put it into the stratosphere to be able to remember what happened in my own life. So if you haven't followed me long enough to know about my two previous deliveries, here they are in a quick nutshell because I will be referencing them here and there. Scarlett's delivery, I went into labor with light contractions that felt like, oh, am I getting my period? No, the beginning of having a baby on a Saturday night, and she was born on a Tuesday, so it was a long process. She also was born face up. It was very traumatic. I had an epidural. I pushed for 2.5 hours. She had a lot of issues with her heart decelerating very, very quickly, and there were some issues with it being too late for an emergency C-section because she had already descended too far and she was in the wrong position. She was kind of lodged there, which all resulted in her having a NICU stay for a week and some days as her little system was trying to fix the wounds on her head that my pubic bone had put there. It's awful to hear, but she looked like she had been poked with a fork all over her head, like a little baked potato from ramming into my pubic bone with every contraction. My recovery with that delivery was really difficult. I wasn't able to walk until she was 2 days old, and then I needed assistance. You can imagine like what kind of shape my hips and things were in after that delivery. Luca, completely different experience. He was born in what I say is 13 minutes because I told Ryan, okay, I think it's time to go to the hospital. We got into the car clock said 1:40, and the baby was born at 1:53, 13 minutes later. I did labor at home beforehand. I didn't yet know that when I transition and my water breaks, it's like boom, 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 baby. So this go round, I had those two previous deliveries in my mind and some difficult decisions to make. Whenever anybody hears those two separate delivery stories, they always say, oh man, I bet you're hoping for Luca's again. And the answer is no. No, I don't ever want to do that again. I always tell people, would you rather learn how to do the splits by going to classes and stretching your body out while deep breathing appropriately until you gently ease your way into the splits, or have somebody grab the top of your head and slam your crotch to the ground? It was fast, but when they handed me the baby, instead of being like, oh, I'm a mother and let me take in my newborn, I was just like, what just happened? I was so dazed. I was so confused and out of it. I just was in pain and stunned. So before I had this baby, I talked to my tummy and I asked for a nice little in-between. Maybe not 3 days of labor with health complications that put the baby at risk, but also not 13 minutes, please. Let's just come together and find a nice medium. Now let's begin the story. I have a lot of day of footage that I'm going to incorporate in here, and then I will be your friendly narrator helping you along with the experience. Let's go have a baby together. That sounds weird. Once upon a time, it was Easter weekend. And as you saw in the last weekly bit right before I had the baby, I really thought I was not going to be able to make it through and celebrate Easter with my family. I was pretty bummed out about that. I wanted to see the kids see their baskets and all the goodies I'd collected for them and do the Easter egg hunt. I also really wanted to go to church and experience all that. And if you saw the last weekly bit, then you know that I got to do all of those things, including holding a baby goat. So, a winner was me. As you guys saw in that video, I actually made a little deal with the baby in my belly and thanked them for making it all the way through Easter and said, okay, now you can come anytime. I was 2 days short of my due date, which was the 19th. Easter was on the 16th, and on the 17th, I had a baby. All weekend long, I was having like, oh, wait, Do I feel something? Yeah, I think I feel something. Okay, hold on. Okay, now I'm fine. What were you saying? Those style of contractions. And then through the middle of the night, they got a little bit stronger to the point of, yeah, I could wake up from that. I definitely know real things are happening now. They were strong enough that I thought I'll have Ryan time these, and I was able to still get sleep in between. From that 4:30, 5:30-ish point until 7:30, I had regular contractions about 30 minutes apart that were very, very short, 10 seconds, sometimes 15 seconds long. And in between all the contractions, I had a complete reprieve. I was totally normal feeling. In fact, I don't even think I felt my HG symptoms. Like I felt like a normal human, if I'm remembering correctly. Which was great because with HG, I wondered how I was going to be able to handle labor. I kept having this visual of those arcade games that you play where you like box the guy and you have your little life bar at the top. And as you're continually getting beat up, your life bar goes down and down and then it starts to flicker. That's what HG felt like to me. I remember telling Ryan, I was like, you know, maybe I just won't be that much alive after I have this baby. I just felt like my life bar had dwindled and was blinking and I was just gonna live the rest of my life in the blinking zone. From 7:30 to about 8:30, the contractions did get progressively closer together to the point where some were about 10 to 15 minutes apart, but they were still like 10 seconds long, and I never reached the point of not being able to talk through them. I've done labor twice before, and I knew what strong progressive contractions should feel like, so to me this was nothing. I felt like I couldn't even consider myself in labor yet. I thought might as well just get checked and see what's going on. Ryan will feel better, and then we can go back home. First attempt.
Yeah. Where are we going?
We're heading to labor and delivery. I think they're gonna send me home, but Ryan just doesn't want to end up with a Luca situation, so we're getting checked out.
I think it's time. I think last time this was the moment that we should have gone with Luca, that we didn't, and we waited like another hour, and then it was too late.
I think we'll be sent back home. We'll see who's right.
We'll see.
That's the time. Here we go. Since we were going straight to labor and delivery, I just had my pajamas on and I put my big giant pink froof over that. And then of course, as soon as we were in the car, all of the contractions stopped. And I just thought it was silly for me to go get checked out when I was so early in the stages of labor that I convinced him to stop at a coffee shop instead. And we had a nice little lovely morning breakfast date. We got mochas and scones, a little quiche thing. And then we set up the camera and just had a nice morning chat.
Besides just snuggling a baby, the things I'm most excited about, like silly things, of remembering just getting to swaddle the baby. I love the challenge of making the perfect folds and the perfect swaddle. And getting the baby just like a little grub.
A little grub.
A
little grub. Ooh, speaking of grub, Ryan went and got me some protein-packed breakfast.
Ting.
Oh, ting. And he's having the best muffin he ever had. And then later, I'll have the best muffin you ever had.
I meant to say like caterpillar in a cocoon.
I got it. I was a little grubbin. I get it. A little grubbin. There's no way they're keeping us, honey. I'm way too capable as a human being right now. So we're just having some mochas and quiches.
If you're capable, do you want them to, since it's not painful, do you want to just go in and have them check you?
They will. They'll for sure check me.
No, I know they will, but I'm saying, do you want to go through that even though we're pretty sure they'll send us back?
Yeah, they'll tell me how far dilated I am.
So you want to go do it, so?
Yeah.
Rather than go home?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is definitely fresh baked. It's yummy.
This falls into line of like I'm getting on a flight, so I can't eat too much. I'm about to help deliver a baby, so I can't eat too much.
I'm in the same zone.
I gotta be on an empty stomach.
Except for I'm the pilot.
Yep. So hopefully we're not.
It's quite scrummy though. It's the perfect bake. You hear that? A tap on the crust. Listen to that. What do you think, Paul? I'm not in enough labor if I'm making British Bake Off jokes.
Let's just drive.
Okay, let me turn that off. When I labored at home with Luca, in between the contractions, I felt nauseous, I threw up, I never truly felt normal in myself, and I feel like that was the same with Scarlett. With her delivery, some of my contractions were 2, 3, and 4 minutes long, which really made my OB nervous, but in between them, I never had that like, I'm okay, let's have a conversation. It just wasn't that way. And it was the same with Luca. So whenever I've seen other women who are like, I'm having a contraction, and they go through it and you see them contort in pain and then they just release it and want to talk about the weather, I have never understood that. until this pregnancy. It would come in the distance, well up, I'd get myself through the pain, it would go away, and I would be completely fine, and then have a giggle before the next one. It was so odd to me. I did a lot of giggling in this delivery. There was no laughing with the other two. So as we walked into the birthing center, there's a couple of tables that the nurses all rest at in between them helping the different patients in the different delivery rooms. And there was a little huddle of nurses there, and I think it was Ryan that heard one of them say, "Oh, that's Marie, she has babies real fast." So I have an official reputation at the birthing center. I've earned my stripes.
Baby. Okay.
I'm okay.
I have baby.
I still think we're going home.
Let's see.
They checked me and then she said, "Well, you are halfway there. Would you like an epidural?" And I was stunned. Ryan was right. All of those little piffy, nothing, puny contractions were doing something, so they admitted us, and I couldn't believe it. Ryan and I have delivered all 3 of our children in this building, so we felt like we were taking this nostalgic walk through memory lane. We were in a great mood, and we had nothing to do all day but just deliver a baby. No other children to watch, no to-do list, just each other and bringing a new life into the world. It's a bit romantic. There was a lot of like pressing our foreheads together and gazing into each other's eyes as we welled up a little, flushed with rosy cheeks at just the joy of, you know, bringing new life into the world and realizing that each one of our babies had started in this place of this family that we created on our wedding day 8 years ago. That kind of stuff. You get the gist. It was a bit romantic.
Love you, honey.
They keep talking like I'm gonna have a baby any minute, but I do not believe anybody. I'm too talky and capable. This is not what
The thing is, last time with Luca, I feel like all the time we spent at home doing this, and then bam, we almost didn't make it. That's what's happening now. We're doing this stuff here, and then bam, it's gonna hit.
Okay, here comes a contraction. Maybe. So shush your face.
It's my girl. You're doing it, babe.
She offered me the tub. Maybe I should just do it just to take advantage of all the amenities.
Does that bouncy ball feel good? Bouncing the baby out?
Bounce the baby out. Bounce the baby out. Isn't that a Winnie the Pooh song? Or Dumbo? Somebody. Ow.
Don't laugh.
You know what's in my head? Because I'm all about that bass. So we strolled the halls, we pointed out the rooms we had the other babies at. I'd have a contraction here and there. Ryan snapped some pictures of me and posted them on social media cheering me along, telling everyone how proud of me he was. I put my arms around him like you do in 7th grade when you're at the slow dance, and we swayed back and forth to try and bring labor along. We spent a good couple of hours just schmoopsying about, gently coaxing this baby into the world.
What's it gonna be?
I don't know.
Get down to the final hour. You can't keep flip-flopping.
This is my view. I come out of having a contraction, open my eyes, and here's my little fan club staring at me. This is the weather on your birth date, baby. Very Seattle. Overcast, but not raining.
I'm still waiting, but we just heard a newborn baby start to cry for the first time.
We just heard
It's getting
it.
real.
We're gonna hear that. Little fingers and toes. I'm gonna hold it.
They asked what we wanted our birth plan to be.
And you said?
And I said we just want Justin Timberlake to be playing the whole time.
He was singing, I got that pressure in my belly. Ow, here comes one. I think. Or maybe it's just that pressure in my belly. Ow. No, here comes one. The contractions did what they're supposed to do, and they progressed. They started to get quite painful, I think 2 hours into us being at the birthing center. But they still were only 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and I was just really concerned that they weren't long enough. I don't know why I got so focused on that, but these contractions weren't following the rules of labor and delivery, and they were supposed to be longer than that in order for me to get a baby at the end of the game.
I can't believe that's going to come out today. Just breathe, honey.
They seem so little or short or something. Doesn't that seem too short?
That one was about 30 seconds.
I labored in different positions, whatever felt comfortable. I had some snacks.
There's my girl. She's doing so good. Doing okay, honey?
It's getting harder.
Getting harder.
At that point, I had had a good 10 plus hours of these non-painful, very tolerable contractions. We just walked the halls. I had 2 really strong contractions. And then we came in and I saw the isolette for the baby. Okay.
That little walk
Okay.
helped move things along.
Oh. Okay. Look, I got salmon.
We got some food.
But they very quickly changed into rapid fire, extremely painful, very close together contractions. Ay, ay, ay. Oh. Mm. 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 Oh, okay. Oh. 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 Oh, yeah.
It's a big one.
Which scared me. I told Ryan that I was scared about having the same delivery that I had with Luca, so when they offered me the epidural this time, I said yes. My concern was, for my body, with all the progress that I had made laboring naturally, I was really nervous that the epidural would just halt everything. So after the epidural was administered, which by the way, I did have the crazy leg shock. Anybody else get the crazy leg shock where it feels like one of your legs is being electrocuted while they're administering the epidural? That happened to me quite a bit, to the point where the lady actually got really concerned and said I might have to take it out and try and replace it. And right after she said that, it finally eased off, like zinging through my leg. But that was something new. I heard her say something about, because you're tall, I'm going to put it at a 12, which is higher than what I usually put it at for people. Then there was a bit of a blur, and from what I remember, within 10 minutes, I was completely numb. And that's not what I remember from Scarlett's delivery. I never got that incredibly numb. And you know when things are numb, it all feels big and fat? I felt like the lower half of me was just like a beluga whale corpse. Lovely. I think it had only been in for maybe about 10 or 20 minutes, and I told Ryan, I don't want this. I don't like it. I'm uncomfortable with it. And I asked him to tell the anesthesiologist to turn it off or take it out or whatever he could do. From there, I just waited for the feeling to return, and in that time, my contractions did slow way down. They went back to being about 10 minutes apart, then 15 minutes apart, and their intensity went way down again too. So I just hope that turning it off would help regulate things again. So for about an hour and a half, we had a break, and then it was just a waiting game. So we took the opportunity to just rest. And kind of the same way that everything ramped up to 10 really quick and was incredibly painful, then disappeared all the way with the epidural, when my feelings started to return, everything came back up really fast. I remember telling Ryan I was feeling contractions again, and then I remember them coming closer together. I was holding onto the side of the hospital bed, and I looked at Ryan and I just said, pressure, and my lip always quivers. When I'm in labor and I have contractions, my lip chatters and my body shakes. Just something to do with the hormones. So if you have that experience, just know that it's normal. And then my eyes popped and my water broke.
Water broke. Here we go.
I think it's gonna happen fast from now.
Here we go, baby. We do this.
And when it did, I had the perfect amount of feeling of what my body was doing, like so much more feeling than I had with Scarlett or Luca. With Luca, there was so much intense pain that I couldn't focus on what was actually happening. And with Scarlett, there was so many other things going on, and the numbness of the epidural, that I didn't really know what was happening either. With this baby, I could feel everything. As soon as my water broke, I felt her head. I felt it right there. So I called in the nurses, and the whole room filled up with people. I remember wondering why there were so many nurses in the room, but I actually think it's because we didn't know the sex of the baby and everybody was excited to watch us find out. I was fine with it. I love the staff there and I didn't mind. It was the baby's first party. So as soon as my water broke, everything moved just as fast as it did with Luca's delivery. We called in the midwife. She came in and said, we're just waiting for that extreme urge to push. And while she was saying that, I was like, I'm pushing. And this is where Marie gets goofy again. With Scarlett's delivery, everything was so intense, I thought my eyeballs were actually going to fall out of my head. Not even kidding, like I actually thought, I wish I could speak right now and tell somebody that I'm concerned about my eyeballs popping out of my head because of the intense pressure that I was pushing and bearing down with. And I actually did pop some blood vessels, so I wasn't far off there. Because of that experience with Scarlett, I had my eyes closed so tight, just trying to keep my eyeballs in my head. With Luca, I was in so much pain that I was like the sitcom version of labor, where I was screaming bloody murder, probably using a couple of choice words. And I think I said all the cliche things like, "Get it out!" like you hear in movies and stuff. You'd think those are the only two options, but this delivery, I chose option 3. Find a person in the room, make really intense eye contact with them through every contraction, and then as you breathe it out, laugh like a maniac. So all of my lovely nurses and midwives in the room got to experience this, which you now get to experience too. I would take a deep breath in, find a person, and then just lock eyes with them as my eyes bulged a little bit out of my head, and I bared down and pressed this baby out, and then I'd go, shoo, and take in another breath, and again. At one point I looked at Ryan and he said, "She looks like she's entering another dimension." And in between the contractions, as I'd come out of it, I'd go, "Oh!" like that. At one point I went, "Yibbidi-dabbidi-dabbidi-doo." And what I was trying to express in those giggles was that I could feel everything. I knew right where her head was. I could feel her shoulders. I didn't yet know it was a she, but I could feel everything that was happening. And I was trying to express through my other dimension eye contact that this was crazy incredible. How is my body doing this? Oh my goodness. Just like with Luca's delivery, everything moved really, really fast. It was just a few short pushes. Baby was out, placed up on my chest. They do the delayed cord clamping there so I could feel the umbilical cord still attached to me. Oh, and as soon as the baby was out and born, I had one more giant belly laugh, and the first words I said, which I think boggled everybody in the room, is, "Let's have 3 more." Well, I felt like I finally have this labor and delivery thing figured out. I finally know how my body works, and that experience was incredible. Let's do it again. Like I'm on Disneyland and want to go on the ride again or something. So everybody in the room was laughing. Ryan had tears in his eyes and he was laughing, and I'd completely forgotten that I was waiting for Ryan to tell me if it was a boy or a girl. I was actually still making like wild eye contact with everybody in the room when I realized all of their eyes were looking at Ryan, which cued me. I was like, "Oh right," and then I looked at Ryan and went, "What is it?" So the baby's laying on my chest. He looks down and he looks at me and goes, "It's a girl!" And it took my breath away. I was so convinced that it was a boy, that this was such a huge surprise, and I just went, and then burst into tears. And then Ryan started crying, and then the nurses started crying. Everybody had tears in their eyes. Everybody was laughing. Oh, just definitely top 5 moment in my life. Ryan said the same. Like, incredible. We have daughters.
Hey, you have daughters. We got them, Marie. What do you got?
Or do you want? Yeah. This is
You hear my voice? I hear your voice. You got tiny little eyelashes. Can you see that sound? Beautiful girl. Oh, baby. I hear you. Hi, my beauty. Hey, baby. Hello. Hi, sweetheart. There's those eyes. Hi. You're still quite swollen, aren't you? What are you gonna look like in a couple days? Hi, little girl. I know. Oh, Daddy walked away. As the nurses came over to tend to the baby, they all were saying the sweetest things. One of them told me that it was such an honor to be a part of this experience and that it was her favorite labor and delivery that she had ever watched. Another one came over and said what you just gave us today was a gift. And oh my gosh, just the tears in that room. The tears now. Oh my goodness. I was holding my newborn baby with the biggest smile on my face and I was laughing. I had another daughter and Scarlett had a sister. When I was in 3rd grade, I had to write a report about what I wanted to be when I grow up. And I wrote that all I ever wanted to be was a mommy of 2 little girls and a boy. Sweetheart. I'm happy.
You did it.
I feel so happy. Some of you guys pointed out that the little birds in Scarlett's room that are on the wall decor, that there's 2 girls and a boy. I think somebody pointed out in my very first nursery video that I made 6.5 years ago, saying maybe it meant that I was gonna have 2 girls and a boy. Everything just fits. And I couldn't have asked for a better finale experience with my labor and delivery. This perfect little baby that we were given. It just was and is so overwhelming.
Just like your brother when he was born. See a little look of face.
I'm made of pure bliss right now.
I don't know. We'll see. Looks like you got blue eyes, just like your brother and sister.
I am now the mommy to Scarlett, Luca, and Sadie. Her siblings meeting her and how she got her name and all that is gonna have to be another video because you know we've gone on too long here. I'm gonna ugly cry about it now, so I gotta go. But let me show you her first. Happy tears, happy tears. I'm not a pretty crier. Oh, there goes my eyeliner. Great. If you remember, this was Scarlett's little outfit, and I honestly have no idea why we had all these summery little outfits for a kid that was born in February. How did we make that work? It's barely warm enough for Sadie to be wearing these things. Hi, cutie pie. She's got wide open eyes. Look at the people, honey. Let's see. Oh, baby. There she is. Oh, that's my girl. She's doing such a good job at being a 3rd child. She's just the most chill, contented baby in the world. Have you guys been watching my awestruck videos? I documented my entire pregnancy, and I've already talked about labor and delivery there a little bit in a different perspective. I'll have that playlist link below. You can go watch more if you want to hear more stuff that you didn't get to hear here. Hear more stuff that you didn't get to hear here. That's right. English is weird. I'm an absolute heaven. Mwah. Mwah. Bye.